Welcome to Levant TV headlines. Kurdish forces continue holding out in Kobani as Pentagon warned US-led airstrikes may not prevent the Syrian border town's fall. Turkey says only Syrian refugees will be allowed to cross its border to fight jihadists in the mainly Kurdish town of Kobani, rejecting calls from the West to fully open the frontier. Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif says that nuclear talks in Vienna this week were difficult, but that progress has been made and possible solutions discussed. Suspected Al-Qaeda militants have seized control of a town in southwest of Yemen, hours after Houthi rebels overran a nearby provincial capital. And Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused US President Barack Obama of a hostile approach towards Russia, warning in a Cold War-style tirade that Moscow would not be blackmailed by the West over Ukraine. And now let's have a look at top Mideastern newspapers. Starting with the UAE, the Khalij Times reports that a second healthcare worker in Texas tested positive for Ebola as concerns mounted worldwide over the possibility that airplane travelers could be exposed to the virus that the UN warns is winning the race. The paper also reports that Arab states in the Gulf plan to launch a joint naval force, a top Kuwaiti defense official said yesterday, in a bid to protect waters shared with neighboring Iran. And from Beirut, the Daily Star leads reporting that the Lebanese Army Commander General Jean Ahwaji has reportedly been assured by American officials that the United States was prepared to support the military and supply it with weapons to combat terrorism. The paper also reports that a top Iranian official has warned that a death sentence passed on a prominent Shiite cleric in Saudi Arabia could escalate tensions and called for the decision to be reversed. The Egypt Independent is reporting that the Muslim Brotherhood will see its final days at Egyptian universities. The Minister of Higher Education Sayyid Abdel Khaliq said as the new academic year began a few days ago with renewed confrontations between Brotherhood-affiliated students and security forces. The paper also reports that Giza supply detectives have seized a factory that authorities say was recycling medical waste to produce containers and spoons to be used by restaurants selling the Egyptian dish koshari. And now let's take a look at top MidEast headlines from papers here in the UK. The Guardian leads Middle East news reporting that George Galloway will not face charges over a speech he made in August declaring Bradford an Israeli-free zone after the Respect MP from Bradford West was interviewed by police under caution over claims that his statements in Leeds has incited racial hatred. The Independent leads Middle East news reporting that ISIS militants have reportedly publicly executed at least 2 of their own fighters in the Syrian city of Al-Bukamal on charges of spying and embezzlement. The paper says the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that the first militant was executed for banditry and robbing Muslims money, while the second militant was allegedly killed for dealing with the regime and throwing electronic chips to keep track of mujahideen. Also from the UK, the Telegraph reports that Britain will send a pair of heavily armed Reaper drones to the Middle East to battle ISIS militants in Iraq. The paper says defense sources said that flights over Iraq would be primarily for intelligence gathering, but the aircraft would be able to use Hellfire missiles and laser-guided bombs to strike ISIS targets if ordered. And now let's have a look at top MidEast headlines in international papers. From Berlin, the Deutsche Welle leads its Middle East news reporting that Iranian lawmaker Ali Larijani pushed for the West to come to an agreement on a nuclear deal, saying that doing so would build confidence between both sides and other matters. The paper adds that Larijani said negotiators should not get hung up on the trivial matter of the number of centrifuges operated by Tehran and instead should push for a deal. And finally, from Beijing, the Global Times reports that dozens of US military advisors have arrived in Iraq to train the country's security forces as they continue to face obstacles in their fight against the Islamic State militant group. The paper says in western Iraq, up to 100 US advisors arrived at 2 air bases in the volatile province of Anbar and are expected to start training of the Iraqi troops. For more updates, please visit our website levant.tv. Thanks for watching. We'll be with you again tomorrow, and bye for now.